on the #1 Chartered Secretary and Administrator in Nigeria. Is the Company Secretary of Nestle Nigeria PLC. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I welcome Mr. Bode Ayeko, FCIS, President and Chairman of Governing Council of the Institute, to give us his welcome address. Please let's pay attention. Thank you. Mr. President, you have the floor, sir.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The Vice President of our Institute, Mr. Taiwo Benga Okolade, FCIS. The Treasurer, Mr. Francis Olawale. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Okay. The immediate past President, Mr. Samuel Kolawole, FCIS. Past Presidents of our great institute here and present. The chairman of the occasion, His Royal Majesty Igwe, Alfred, Nnaemeka, Achebe, FCIS. I also wish on behalf of the Governing Council of the Institute to congratulate our revered Royal Father on his 80th birthday celebration. I want to believe that it's still ongoing because it was celebrated just last week. So we celebrate you, sir. And we wish you more years in good health, and also so that you can continue to be a blessing to this generation. The keynote speaker, Professor Konyinsola Ajayi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The distinguished discussants, Dr. Nechi, Ezeako, and Mrs. Mavi Isibor. The chairman of the Corporate Governance and Capacity Building Committee of our institute, Dr. Hassan Adeyinka, FCIS, members of the Governing Council of the Institute, fellow charter secretaries and administrators, distinguished guests, members of the fourth estate of the realm, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to welcome you all to this 2021 Roundtable on Corporate Governance of our great institute. The Institute of Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria Roundtable on Corporate Governance is a major annual event in the Institute's calendar, which was conceived several years ago as a medium for advancing the ideas and principles of best practices in corporate governance in both the public and private sectors. Over the years, we've used the platform of our annual Roundtable on Corporate Governance for intellectual engagement on topical issues of national and global importance and made viable and pragmatic recommendations anchored on international best practices, which many stakeholders have found very useful. By way of brief introduction of our institute, the Institute of Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria was established in 1944 in Nigeria. However, we were officially we officially elected our first president in 1966. The Institute is a leading statutorily established professional body dedicated to enhancing the status and practice of corporate governance and public administration. It is the only professional body authorized in Nigeria to conduct examinations leading to the qualification to practice both as charter secretaries and administrators. As I stated earlier, the Institute started in Nigeria in 1944 as an associate of the international body based in Britain. It elected its first president in 1966, that is about 55 years ago. The Institute became chartered by Decree 19 of 1991, now in Cap I-13, Laws of the Federation 2004. ICSA is a member of the Corporate Secretaries International Association, a global organization originally registered in Geneva, but now in Hong Kong, and dedicated to developing the study and practice of secretaryship and administration to improve professional standards, the quality of governance practice, and organizational performance. The Corporate Secretaries International Association is a global voice of corporate secretaries and governance professionals worldwide. Over the years, we have consistently promoted the ideas of corporate governance through periodic issuance of policy papers and guidance materials on corporate and public administration. For the past 55 years that we have been in Nigeria officially, our members who are seasoned professionals have been contributing their quota to the nation's economic development. Many of our members are at present occupying various enviable positions, as chairmen of boards, managing directors and directors of reputable companies, company secretaries, governance practitioners, compliance officers, administrators, both in public and private sectors. The theme of this year's roundtable, once again, reflects our preoccupation with engaging trending issues with a view to highlighting some basic governance concepts with the intent to expand the frontiers of knowledge. Thus, this year, we have chosen the theme, Ethical Governance in the Boardroom, Implications for Stakeholders, on account of our firm belief in the concept of ethics as the driver of corporate integrity and sustainability. Ethical governance in the boardroom is very important as it relates to setting the appropriate examples and tone about doing things the right way, which will be in the interest of all stakeholders. It is remarkable to note that adherence to ethics promotes all aspects of governance as it constitutes the veritable bedrock on which the governance principles rest. Ethics may be described as the metaphorical compass usable for clever navigation in the corporate oceans in order to avoid the dangerous icebergs and other associated perils of deep sea voyage. Also embedded in the theme is the undeniable role of the board of directors as the driver of ethical culture. It is remarkable that it is the responsibility of the board to formulate, implement, and entrench the ethical policies that serve as the guide both for top-level decision-making as well as across the gamut of the organizational structure. It is also the function of the board to review the ethical policies from time to time. Thus, our team aptly underscores the role of the board as the brain behind the entrenchment and propagation of ethical practices in their corporate entities, and this is a role that cannot be trivialized. I believe the faculty we have assembled to address this theme will provide diverse and interesting perspectives on the topic. The chairman of today's grand occasion is His Royal Majesty Igwe Alfred Nnaemeka Achebe, FCIS, a respected boardroom titan and the chairman of the boards of reputable public listed companies in Nigeria. The keynote speaker is the managing partner, Olaniwun Ajayi, LP, Professor Konyinsola Ajayi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. He is a reputable legal practitioner and the firm is actively involved in corporate legal practice. The two distinguished discussants, both of whom are experienced corporate professionals, are our own Dr. Nechi Ezeako, FCIS, and the Executive Vice Chairman, Poise, Nigeria, Mrs. Mavi Isibor. As you can see, we are presenting to you people of high caliber and practical experience as speakers and discussants. I have no doubt that we will enjoy the program. Please listen attentively and do not forget to put your questions in the chat box as we will strive to answer as many of them as time will permit us. The communique to be issued at the end of today's event will be disseminated widely to all relevant stakeholders. It will also be published in major newspapers in order to make it accessible to the public. I sincerely appreciate the chairman of today's occasion, speakers, and discussants for finding time from their busy schedules to participate in this roundtable on corporate governance. I appreciate everyone here present for finding time to participate in yet another program of our institute as we interact in a collective bid to share experiences and discuss best practices in the interest of all stakeholders. I also thank all the members of the Roundtable and Capacity Building Committee of our institute, ably led by Dr. Nnaemeka and FCIS, for their passion and commitment in making today's event a reality. I thank the Secretariat for the arrangement made for a successful program. However, it is important for me to also draw the attention of stakeholders to some of our programs and initiatives that we put in place on a regular basis in order to reach out to the stakeholders generally and contribute our quota towards the entrenchment of good corporate governance in Nigeria. As far back as 2018, we started a radio program on the Echo 89.75 every Wednesday between 10:15 and 10:30 a.m., solely devoted to corporate governance issues. And our determination is very simple, to ensure that we evangelize this particular area to all stakeholders so that they can see the importance of corporate governance to businesses, or whether as individuals or collectively with groups of people, to see the relevance and contribution of corporate governance to the success of whatever they do. And for us, we believe that corporate governance should not be limited to the private sector. It should also apply to the public sector. And that is why we've embarked on this particular radio program. In addition to that, also we have the corporate governance program on television, on MITV, the DSTV channel 255, every Thursday between 4:30 and 5 p.m. are solely devoted to corporate governance. And the reason for this is very simple. Our major preoccupation is the entrenchment of good corporate governance in Nigeria. And as an institute that is the hub of governance professionals in Nigeria, we are using our platforms within our reach to reach out to all stakeholders, to encourage them that it is in their interest to imbibe corporate governance. The success of any business does not depend on the managerial ability of the managers alone. It depends on the ability to put in place sound corporate governance principles, because that is the best way to control the company and ensure that the company will be in existence for a long period of time, so that all the relevant stakeholders of such an entity will continue to benefit for a very long period of time. So it's on that basis, ladies and gentlemen, that I welcome you all to this 2021 Roundtable on Corporate Governance of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, our dear President. Dear participants, we've listened to the President's welcome address. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for welcoming us to the Roundtable and enjoining us to pay close attention to the proceedings of this all-important program of the Institute. Thank you very much. Quickly now, ladies and gentlemen, would like to introduce our chairman of today's occasion before he comes up. So permit me to just quickly introduce him so that he can take over the proceedings as the chairman of this event. Our chairman of today, His Royal Majesty Nnaemeka Achebe, the Obi of Onitsha, and the chairman of Unilever Nigeria Plc, had a 30-year career with the Royal Dutch Shell Petroleum Group of companies in Nigeria and overseas. He is the past chairman of Diamond Bank Plc and Interfact Beverages Limited, and also the past chancellor of Kogi State University. He is the chairman of International Breweries Plc, a subsidiary of Abiv InBev, that's the global leading brewer of beer and other beverages. Also the chairman of Humac Maritime Limited and Tishona Limited. He is also the chairman of Anambra State Traditional Rulers Council, a trustee of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria, and also the Chancellor of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. He had his education at Stanford and Columbia Universities in the United States of America, and also attended the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, KURI, in Jos. His Majesty, His Royal Majesty, is an exemplary leader with rich experience in corporate and civic governance. He deftly combines exceptional boardroom skills with exceptional grace and humility. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome His Majesty Nnaemeka Achebe, FCIS MNI CFR, to take over as the chairman of today's proceeding. Your Royal Highness, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. The chairman of the Council of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, Mr. Bode Ayeku, FCIS, and other members of the Governing Council of ICSAN who are present here today. The erudite keynote speaker, Professor Konyinsola Ajayi, SAN, the chief of the Old Rock. I was a fan of the non-legal writings of your late father, just to put things in context. Distinguished speakers, Dr. Nechi, Ezeako, a good friend, particularly on governance, corporate governance matters, and of course, Mrs. Mavi Isibor, esteemed corporate governance professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to share this auspicious occasion of the 2021 Roundtable on Corporate Governance, organized by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. Let me say that it's not just a pleasure for me, it's a privilege to be invited to act in this position today, and also a duty, being a fellow of ICSAN. So I'm here in more than one capacity. I want to thank God also for making it possible for me to be here today, because as at yesterday, it was touch and go for health reasons. But I think the ICSAN prayers were very, very strong and very, very powerful. So I'm here today. We thank God. Thanks to the chairman of the Governing Council for the goodwill extended to me on my 80th birthday, which was last Friday. Unfortunately, there were absolutely no celebrations. The family decided that the situation in the country is not worth any celebration. We should be rather in prayers and praying to God to get us out of the situation. So all we managed to do was to attend a family service, and that was it. However, next year is coming, and if God helps and things improve on all fronts, all of you will be invited to Onitsha to celebrate not only my 81st birthday, but my 20th anniversary on the throne, which falls exactly on the same date, 14th of May, going forward. The theme of today's event, ethical governance in the boardroom, implications for stakeholders, remains as topical as it has always been. According to John Maxwell, and quotes, everything rises and falls on leadership. I think you can't dispute that statement. This reinforces the fact that authentic corporate governance always thrives as a result of a strong tone at the top, set by the board. The Cadbury report, way back in the early 90s, I believe, defines corporate governance as a system by which companies are directed and controlled. At the helm of that system sits the board of directors, and everything that happens in the boardroom dictates the fortunes of the entire organization, whether for the benefit or detriment of its teeming stakeholders who are impacted directly or indirectly by the trajectory of the company. Although the day-to-day management of companies are reposited in the executive directors stroke management team, the board of directors remains collectively responsible, and I believe individually also, and accountable to stakeholders for the governance of companies. It is therefore extremely critical that ethical governance moves beyond the rhetorics of codes and rules and regulations and becomes a grave responsibility that drives all the thinking and the actions within the boardroom. We have before us today a distinguished lineup of speakers to dissect this highly relevant topic and engender new thinking that further empowers and emboldens the crop of ethical board of directors and equip them to carry out their duties and responsibilities in a way that ensures that organizations are properly managed for the benefits of all the stakeholders. And this point becomes even more critical in view of the situation we face today, the rapid transformations in our lives caused by COVID-19, et cetera, et cetera. Life will not be the same again. And I think the successful companies are the ones that try to think ahead and try and act ahead and not get caught flat-footed on the ground. On my part, I wish our distinguished speakers happy deliberations, and I look forward to a communique from this discussion, that further enlightens the publics, strengthens the governance framework, builds stakeholders' confidence in our companies, and drives the much needed investment into our economy. I thank you very much for your attention, and I wish everybody very fruitful and enjoyable day and deliberations. Thank you very much.